everybody. We wanted to welcome you back to I Told My Wife I'm Paying Bills. I'm Slim,
I'm Black.
and today we have a special episode. This will probably be the start of our more regular episodes, but also we actually have a special guest. I'd like to welcome our guest, Chris. Chris, say hi to everybody.
Hello, how you doing?
All right. And so Chris is the guy actually that I've been talking about who kind of got me back on my love of comic books. It was a while. I grew up loving comic books, but then for some reason I have no idea why I just stopped. Like I just didn't have them around me for some reason. I don't know why. My brother still had his comic books, but I just didn't have mine. I went to basic
Mhm.
and I bought comic books when I was in basic training, but then when I got back, I read them for a little bit, and then again, I just stopped. So when Chris and I met at the job that we used to work at, um, I don't even know how the conversation came up. Maybe it was like I said, my usual love of Batman or something.
Mm.
But I ended up just talking to him, and we started talking about comic books. And he got me on. He was like, "Oh, you got to try this, and you got to try this, and you got to try this." And he just started bringing comic books in for me to read, and I was like, "Dude, this is so dope! Oh my gosh, this is dope!" It's like
Yeah, yeah.
every time he brought me in something else to read, I realized that, oh man, I'm missing out on so much. And I realized too, there was a very big gap that I missed.
Mm.
And I started reading, but again, now, like I said, I really love reading the whole episodes. Like I don't want to say episodes, sorry, the whole story arc of a
Mm.
comic.
Mm.
I still don't like individual issues anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe it's just my attention deficit or something. So
yeah, yeah. I
uh,
feel you on that. I like.
Definitely.
yeah. So, all right. So today, our episode actually, like I said, is a little special episode, in honor of Black History Month. I kind of got with the fellas, and I told them I kind of wanted to talk about uh, Black heroes, but not just in comics,
Mhm.
but like on TV shows and movies and things like that. That we each can pick and kind of give our own take on why this hero kind of means something to us. So we're gonna go ahead and we can start off. Let our guest start off. But we got one person. We got one person that nobody's supposed to touch yet. So we're not. Chris, you already heard we can't talk about that person yet. So you go ahead and give me one of your favorite Black characters, Chris.
Yeah. Right now, probably my favorite character, black character, as far as we are talking comic books, right? I mean, or well, comic books, games, and
Comic books, video games, and movies. Just kind of general entertainment culture in general, really.
yeah, my favorite at the moment is who I heart dearly has got to be Miles Morales.
Oh, nice, nice
Okay.
pull. I like that.
Mhm.
I like that. Can you kind of give me a little bit of insight on why why you chose Miles, but why he's also your first, like one of your top?
In a lot of ways, I mean, from the opening moments of that movie, well, let me just step back a second. From the opening moments of Into the Spider Verse,
Gotcha. Yeah.
it that movie pretty much became the probably the I had a religious experience with that movie. It,
Yeah.
from the early moments of it, it was pretty much everything that I had ever dreamed of seeing with a superhero, and with with someone who looked like us,
Mhm. Mhm.
and who had a background, who had hobbies, and when he was sitting there with the headphones on drawing, and
Singing the song. That's
yeah.
what it is. Black, have you seen that
I
movie
have
yet?
not. I have not
Oh
seen
my
it.
gosh,
I'm.
you
I'm
gotta
not a
see it.
big Spider-Man fan.
Oh, it's
You
incredible.
know what though? I think you'd like this movie because of just how down to earth it is. It kind of gives you like the feeling of, okay, yeah, this kid has like normal kid problems, but he doesn't have like big problems. I mean, of course he has the Spider-Man problems once he gets the whole Spider-Man aspect of it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but like you know how the heroes have like certain issues and they're like dealing and they're like losers and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Nah, this kid isn't even a loser. He's just a regular kid. He's got two parents.
Mhm.
Both of his parents love him. And his dad makes him say, "I love that because I really wanted to do that to my daughter when back in the day, but she would have been horrified." Because he gets out the car and his dad's like, "I love you," and
Ah.
but it's like this though. He's in front of his high school.
Mm,
His dad is a cop,
mm.
and he's using the horn. So he's doing it like really loud, and all the kids are around looking at him while he's doing it. So you got to check that out. It's really good. It came out about how long was that, Chris?
I believe
God,
that.
it's probably been what 2 or 3 years now because the next one is about to come out. That's
Right,
it's
right.
usually a 2 to 3 year cycle in between. But
Okay. Yeah.
it was. I mean, yeah. Do yourself a favor. It's an incredible movie, and I mean, it's every frame of that movie could be, even down to the details of how it was designed. Everything and every frame of that movie could go on your wall.
Yeah, that was actually really drawn really well.
Oh wow. Oh,
Yeah.
this is the first time I actually gotten feedback about that movie. As far as I saw the of course the previews for it,
Hmm.
but like I said, I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, so I thought it was just something like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, I like the Afro Latino. Well, I almost messed that up. The Afro Latino aspect of it too,
mm,
because his father is black and his mother's Latina.
ah,
And I remember when Miles Morales like was first announced and everything like that.
mm,
One of my cousins, she's a big comic book fan, and she was like really stoked about that.
mm.
So that I think that was actually really cool. So
Oh, that's
um
awesome.
Black, tell me your superhero,
Uh,
superhero that I think we can all agree on because I've had conversations with Chris about this superhero. But go ahead.
well, the superhero I'm rolling with is Blade. Uh, Blade was the first superhero, that of course, like Chris said, looked like us. I remember seeing Blade when it came out in the movies in 1990, it was 1998, August 21st, 1998. I actually saw it on opening weekend, and it 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 was the first time I've ever heard of Blade. I did not know he was a character from Marvel until after I saw the movie, and I started doing my little background, and I'm like, man, this is such an awesome movie, man. It's played by Wesley
Mhm.
Snipes. Uh, Blade actually was introduced in Marvel's Tomb of Dracula, number 10, 1973.
Hmm.
And I believe what New Line Cinema produced like two sequels in addition to the original film. So I'm pretty
Right.
sure you
Yeah.
guys have seen
Oh,
Blade.
I want to say I still got the DVDs somewhere in this house.
Well, I mean,
Oh yeah.
they're all on Tubi right now. So
Yeah, but if you look to your left, you'll actually see that little glaive. Look underneath look behind that fan right there. Yeah, see,
oh
that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
glaive.
that's the one I was like,
Yeah, it's that glaive. So if you've ever seen that movie,
yeah.
it's that thing that Blade in the very first one. He's standing in that circular room and he throws it around and cuts off all the vampire heads.
Mm.
It's called a glaive. I have one of those, and I love it. I was like, man, it's funny because when I was giving you all my other like the knives and stuff, I was like, yeah, I can't get
Yeah,
rid
yeah,
of
yeah. I
that.
actually saw the glaive. I was like, I'm not gonna ask for it, but I hope he gives it to me. But he never did.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I had to keep that one. That one, oh my, it's one of my favorites. But going along with that, Black, yeah, I I love Blade. When I first saw the movie, it's funny because I want to say he was on I saw him on the Amazing Spider not Amazing Spider-Man, that what was the name of that, Spider-Man cartoon that was in the '90s?
uh, I think it was.
Spider-Man and Friends.
No, not Spider-Man and Friends, it was after Spider-Man and Friends,
I think it was just
it
Spider-Man,
was
if
just
I'm not
Spider-Man?
yeah, if I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
mistaken. I remember the intro to it
Yeah.
had a really nice intro to
Yeah,
that
yeah,
particular
yeah.
Spider-Man.
So I remember seeing him first on that one,
Mm,
because it was also like they had like Michael Morbius, and then he was like they also had like Black Cat and all that.
mm,
So um, that was my first time seeing Blade and finding out about Blade, and then the movie came out, and the movie was just so dope.
yeah,
I really love that scene that I just talked about where
yeah.
he's in there. and he throws that thing around, and he catches it right back, and then all the other vampires just die, and yeah, he has just so many different like parts in that movie. But going along with my theory, I don't have I ever talked about my movie theories
Uh,
about like
No.
about trilogies? Have I said any about Chris? I think you and I have talked about this before, but I have
Mhm.
this theory, it's weird theory, and it doesn't always happen, but for the most part, if you catch most movies, it usually does. Um, I have this theory that when movies are made, the first one is good,
mm,
second one is amazing,
yep.
and then the third one is just like,
Uh,
it's not all that.
Because
And
the third one is a cash grab.
for the most part, yeah.
well,
So
you know that works in games too.
yeah,
If
yeah,
if
yeah.
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
understand where I'm going with that.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I understand where you're going
Let me
with
guess,
that.
Dead Space.
Oh, and no, no, no.
Oh,
He's talking about
especially
Gears.
Dead Space,
Or
especially Dead
or
Space.
or either that or it's gotta be my favorite complaint with oh my god, wow, Mass
Mass
Effect 3.
Effect, yes, sir. I knew he was going there. I knew he was going
Yeah.
there. Mass Effect 3, but
But I know
we ain't.
I know Black was hinted about Gears 3. That's why. But
Oh,
Oh yeah,
here's
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
here's the
I
thing
was.
too for all those who are listening. You're probably gonna get our Gears podcast out of order. We recorded it before these episodes, but we had this idea, so we wanted to go ahead and get these out. So you're gonna get this podcast in Black History Month, and then you're gonna get the Gears podcast a little bit late. So if we talk about old stuff, that's why. Um, so, but yeah, going back to my theory, Blade 2 was really good. I
Very,
really loved it. Was
yes, sir.
so excellent. And
Yes,
and
sir.
the jokes and
Yep.
just man, even oh my gosh, what is his name?
Abraham Lincoln.
Ron Perlman.
Ron Perlman.
Ron
Ron
Perlman. Yeah.
Perlman was excellent in that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That
Yeah,
was it
Ron
was just
Perlman was excellent in everything.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Ron Perlman is the big head dude. He played
Yes.
on Alien
Yeah.
Resurrection, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
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 Alien Resurrection. Yeah.
So but Wesley Snipes so good, and Mahershala Ali is going to be the next Blade. What are
Cannot
y'all's
wait.
thoughts on that?
I
Oh,
can't wait.
Uh, no
But
way, really?
yeah,
I did not know
yeah.
that.
yeah, yeah. So, what were you saying, Chris?
I was saying I can't wait. Oh, and as far as as far as Blade goes, I've
Mm-hmm.
still got the VHS tape and the
Nice,
playback CD.
nice,
Nice,
nice, nice.
nice.
So, yeah, I'm just waiting to see. I think Wesley Snipes has so much of an impact on me that I'm just
Yep.
gonna wait to see um how Mahershala Ali does.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
Because I see where you're going with it,
mm.
and I'm like, yeah, Wesley Snipes played that role so good, man.
But you know who else did it good? But still, Wesley Snipes is a dude for me.
Mm.
Did you ever see the Blade TV show on
I just,
Spike?
Oh yeah.
I did not
Yep.
see it. I saw who was playing. I was like,
Dude, really?
I
Really?
don't know about
We,
that.
you remember our friend that used to draw really well? I don't want to say his name just right now, but you remember our friend? We had those two guys who drew very well in high school.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I know who you're
our,
talking
our
about.
friend B.
Yeah, B.
We
yeah.
used to call him Sticky Fingers. We used to
He
call
was
him,
just,
that was his nickname.
He favored him, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But going back, yeah, that's who played Blade was Sticky
He,
Fingers. And
he actually wasn't bad.
and he did really well. I was actually surprised.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. So, I'm
Yeah, he was good.
thinking Blade on TV. You're right. It's like nah.
I
But
don't really. Yeah, it's a funny thing about spinoffs with
Mhm.
me. I'm like, if they make a TV show or something, I always feel like it's going to be bad.
right, yeah, exactly.
So,
It's almost like you expect it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost like I
Yeah.
already know this is going to be bad. I'm not even going to waste my time.
Yeah. All
But,
right. Well, let's go ahead and get into my first choice, and the reason why I chose this, and also a lot of my choices I've chosen are people that I wanted to play cosplay as.
Uh,
But this person, I didn't even think about cosplaying as until like literally right at this moment that I said it.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, I wonder if I can cosplay as this dude because it's not that hard to play, but I'm gonna need a trench coat. So, do you remember the TV show Cops?
yeah, of course.
oh wow, yeah.
His name is Baldwin P. Vest, and he ended up being called Bulletproof. He was the leader,
Yeah.
and that came to mind because, like, I mean, of course, I've seen other black like people before that, and
Mhm.
like in the TV and stuff like that. But this was a cartoon where this black dude was in the lead. He ran the whole cop squad, and that was so dope. So
You
for
talking?
those who
I'm
go
sorry,
ahead.
not to cut you off, Chris, but you're talking about fighting crime in the future time. That
Right.
cops, that
Yes.
cops.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
Mhm.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fighting crime in the
Yeah,
future.
yeah,
Time.
yeah. Fighting crime.
Yes.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, cops was it's not that kind of cops like Bad Boys. No, it's not that cops.
Everybody
It,
probably thought it was
yeah,
though.
it was abbreviation for Central Organization of Police Specialists. It was a cartoon in the late '80s, and it was an anime series. It was a toy line, and it was a comic.
Hmm.
So this character initially he visited Empire City, like on their version of the FBI. He was part of their version,
Hmm.
and he was visiting to investigate Big Boss. Big Boss was the really really fat criminal mastermind.
Yep.
Right? He wasn't even a really mastermind. Dude was an idiot, but he was ahead of all the idiots. Some of his people actually seemed like they were smarter than him in that
Mhm.
cartoon, which was really funny. So when he went, what happened was he got injured really bad, near death.
Mhm.
And when he got injured near death, he was enhanced with cybernetics that like encased his whole body in steel, his torso, I should
Mm.
say, in stainless steel, and that made him bulletproof. He always had those sunglasses on, which like had little mini computers inside, so he can get like data and actually like when you were actually watching the cartoon, you could actually see him like kind of get the data on the characters and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I always thought that was so cool, and even though like some of the stuff, he's one of the few that had like very little like cool stuff about it, because there was some people who had like real cool stuff, like the guy who had the robot dog,
Mhm.
uh and it's so funny too because one of the crooks was a black female, and I cannot remember what her name was now,
It's
but
on
she
the
was the
tip of my
cat
tongue.
burglar, I think.
Yeah, the cat
Mhm.
burglar.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just can't remember what her name was, but
yeah, yeah.
excuse me. That that was such a really good show, and seeing that, I used to love that show, and the fact that it only came on, it didn't even have that many episodes. I think it only had like 2 seasons at the
Yeah,
most.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
It
but the
was pretty
fact that it
short.
came on so short,
Mm.
but it ended up coming in syndication, and I think they kind of did a rehash because when Cops, the live action, the reality show came on, they had to rebrand the name, and I'm forgetting the name. I didn't write it down, but once they rebranded the name, by that time I was older and I didn't really think about that. I didn't even know they actually rebranded. So
Mm.
but I missed that show, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and get on that channel and watch it again. I'm gonna look and see if I can find it. But then again, too, I could probably find it on something else too. So all right.
Mhm.
So Chris, what is your next choice?
Mine would have to be
Are
because
we?
my next one would have to be Al Simmons' Spawn.
Yep, yep. That's
Al
what I was going with
Simmons.
next.
Okay, okay, all right. So, and see, I have a feeling a lot of ours are going to cross. However, I think I chose some ones that aren't like normal, like in everybody's like view. But
Mhm.
give me your take on Al Simmons, Chris, and then Black. Go ahead and you kind of add in there your thoughts too.
Got you.
Yeah, as far as Spawn went, one, it was a subject matter that that was just the fact that he was the lead black character in a series when it came out, and at that time, which was such a rare thing.
Mm.
Although round about that time was when it started picking up because that was the era of when Milestone came about, and so I was happily starting to go back to comic book stores even more because I was able to pick up books that actually had characters in there that were
Hmm.
that were black characters.
Mm.
So, and even though I was heavy on Batman and probably heavy on the X-Men around about the time, that's when
Hmm.
I started kind of venturing out, was about the time that Image came out and the and Spawn came out, and just the character's background hooked me immediately.
Right.
Oh
And
Right.
yes,
the fact
yes.
that, yeah, and how,
Mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mercenary.
s-
So,
yeah.
Black, tell me your thoughts about him too, because I want to know, how were you introduced to him? I know Chris was introduced to the comics. Were you introduced through the movie or the HBO cartoon?
The HBO cartoon.
Oh man, that was so
The
dope.
HBO cartoon.
Yeah.
The HBO cartoon was extremely graphic,
and
but
dark.
believe it or
Yes.
not, and dark. But believe it or not, that's how the comic book was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So when I first saw it, I was like, I can't believe this
yeah.
cartoon is like this. I
Yeah,
mean, I mean,
Yeah.
you had gangsters shooting people in the head, killing bums,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Spawn just messing people up, So it's like, yeah, man,
And
it was awesome animated series,
That makes me want to go
yeah.
back and look at that.
It was awesome
And
animated.
that cartoon felt like the books,
Yeah,
where the movie, which I kind of enjoyed, but it was, for the pulp that it was, but it was not.
N-
it was
No,
watered down,
it was
very
nothing.
watered
Yeah.
down.
I love the animated series more than the movie. I thought the movie was a
Oh,
bit watered
definitely,
down.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
definitely.
you know,
So let me ask: did either of you play the Spawn game for the SNES?
Yes.
I did not.
You didn't? Did you?
You didn't miss anything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you complete it, Chris?
No.
Oh, I completed it, but that game had very little impact on me that I don't remember it. I just remember
Yeah.
there was a lot of stuff in there, and I remember it's funny because I think that's when they had codes, right? Where you had to put in codes for your game save.
Mm,
Yeah.
And I remember there's this one place that I had the code for that I just kept dying at because I was supposed to like climb like a little shaft or something like that,
mm,
but there was stuff on
Mhm.
the walls that kept killing me and like Spawn's magic was part of it. Like you could only use up so much magic I don't even remember if it replenished or not, but I remember at that game save point I was really low on magic, and then that's what ended up killing me. So I was like, I got so frustrated at that game. So yeah, you
I,
didn't miss anything.
I
okay.
played the Dreamcast one, which was also awful.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Oh, they were bad.
Oh man. Oh see, and I never had the Dreamcast. So did you have a Dreamcast?
I did not.
You didn't. Okay.
I skipped. Well, I was never a big Sega guy.
Hmm.
Back then, I was more into Nintendo than anything else. Uh,
And
because
it's
Sega just kept doing crazy stuff. They had
yeah.
the Sega CD, they had the Sega Saturn, then they had the Sega something
That
on top.
Genesis was dope. You can't deny the
The
Genesis.
Genesis was great.
Genesis is dope.
The Genesis was great, but then they
The,
had the
the
this
CD
this
was ahead
this
of its time
the
though.
Sega CD. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was
It
too early. Sometimes,
Mhm.
well, I'm not gonna go into the gaming and consoles
it
because
it
that's a
had very
whole
few
different
good.
other.
Yeah. It had very few really good games on it, but there were a couple of gems.
I know
I,
the X Men
I I'll
game was pretty
stand
tight
by
on it.
I'll stand by Snatcher any day of the week, but I understand that the PC version was a little bit better.
Mm.
Okay. Black, do you want to go ahead and elaborate any more on Spawn, or is that that was your second choice?
Yeah, that was my second choice.
Okay.
I knew I had a feeling somebody was going. Yeah, I said somebody's gonna say Al Simmons before me. I know
Yeah. So
it.
and here's this funny. I was sitting there and I have characters all around. So my end of my list, you're gonna laugh at some of these characters I've chosen. But right now, my next one is somebody that I wanted to cosplay as, and I actually started building the suit, and
I already know who you gonna
I couldn't fail.
say.
Wait, but who? Who? Wait, it's Black Lightning. Did you see? Did you know about that one?
Oh yeah.
The,
I thought you were
so,
gonna say somebody else, but never
Oh, okay. It
mind.
might be. It might be. No, 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 no. That one. That costume is complete. That costume.
Oh,
Oh,
okay, okay.
you're talking about Show Enough.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
talking about showing up.
yeah, yeah. No, no, that costume's complete. And actually, Show Enough is on my list too
Okay.
because. But see, he's on my list. He and Bruce Leroy both on my list.
Mm,
Show Enough is more. I think I really like Show Enough
mm.
because of. I don't want to say it's flamboyancy because he wasn't really flamboyant. That dude had machismo,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, all the way.
yeah, but that dude, like, he can kick anybody's tail,
Mhm.
and he was like, well, almost anybody, of course. We know how the end of the movie
Yeah,
goes,
yeah, we know, we know.
but he can kick anybody's tail, so he could wear what he want because
Mm,
anybody who's trying to clown him, he just smack him up,
right.
So that's why his costumes are so elaborate, and I'm gonna end up talking about Show Enough a little bit later because one of my other choices, who's also on that wall, one of my other choices, I actually have a picture when I went to a Comic Con as a dude dressed like that other choice. But I'm gonna go back to Black Lightning. I really liked Black Lightning, and it's funny because before I really knew who he was, there was a character on Super Friends, and I didn't write his name down. Chris, maybe you can help me. Do you remember Super Friends?
Yes, and I know who you're talking about. Wow, I was trying to think of that guy's name. And he had just come up in something recently that I was looking at too,
Hmm. Yeah,
but
well,
I cannot think of his
there's
name. So
a black superhero from Super Friends, and I can't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up the next time, when Chris is talking on his next turn. But that superhero to me was the beginning, like, well, not really the beginning of Black Lightning, because Black Lightning was actually created in '77. And I don't know when that superhero is, but that's a completely different superhero.
Mm,
But seeing that superhero, and then when I actually found out about Black Lightning when I was a little bit older, I actually like was just like amazed by Black Lightning. He was so dope, and he had a really funky costume,
mm,
But I really liked the character, and the fact that he was a father who took care of his kids. He was a divorced father that kind of sucked, but
mm,
he was a father who took care of his kids, and he still helped out with his ex-wife, um, and his daughters, both of his daughters, ended up being superheroes. And let's see, he was actually drawn by a black artist who actually drew Black Goliath, Marvel.
mm.
Do you know who Black Goliath is?
No.
Bl Black Goliath is actually the character that, like, can grow to, like, he basically, preceded Ant-Man. Well, not really preceded Ant-Man, because 'cause I'm saying it wrong here, but he grew, like, very large, like the size of a building.
Mm,
And actually, if you actually read the comic book, Civil War, in
mm.
the actual comic book, he's killed while he's large, and they have to take up like half a cemetery to bury him. It's crazy. It is
Wow.
is yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I had to find that picture so you can actually see. That was really crazy. But
yeah, that look was nuts.
yeah, he was drawn by Tony Isabella, and then no, he was created by Tony Isabella. That was the writer, and the artist was Trevor Von Eden. And Trevor Von Eden actually drew Power Man and Iron Fist.
Mm,
Oh
So
wow.
that's another thing, Power Man. So these two creators, they actually have drawn and created other historic black comic book figures, which is actually really dope to me. Um, but I really liked Black Lightning all these years, and then while I was like in other, of course, Batman's my dude,
right.
but I like the Outsiders and everything, and that's the crew that Black Lightning is part of. Well, like they have the little mini superhero teams. So I wasn't really thinking too much about it, and then here it comes in 2018. Well, a little bit before 2018, but they announced the Black Lightning is going to have his own TV show. Man, I flipped out. I was like, "Are you
Mm,
kidding me? I cannot believe it!" And it was mainly because there weren't too many straight up black superhero TV shows that's just been out.
right.
And that just like really just got to me. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was so happy. And the TV show has some dope music. There's some songs that I didn't know about that I ended up hearing on that show, and I
Mm.
straight up bought the song like right after.
Oh wow.
Like,
Yeah.
do you remember? Chris, I know because you're a big music girl, like Chris, but Black, do you remember this song "Don't Disturb This Groove"?
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Did you know Michelle
that, that
Indiacello actually did a smooth, slow version of that song?
No.
Man,
mm,
that song is so dope because like and the reason why I know that is because I heard it on Black Lightning,
Mm,
and his daughter, she just had a straight like neo soul vibe anyway.
mm,
And it's the one I got the picture of right there too. And it's really funny because when I first saw her, when we went up, there was nobody in line, and it was almost lunchtime.
mm,
So I didn't realize it when I went up. My wife was telling me, she was just like, "Yeah, I think she was just hungry." When I went up, she didn't seem that happy to see me,
mm,
and I was like, "Hang on, I wonder if it's my costume."
mm,
I'm like, she's just thought, "Hey, this dude is weird dude wants to take a picture, and I'm signing this autograph for this dude." But yeah, after we walked away a little bit, and I was telling my wife about it, she was like, yeah, it's lunchtime. I think she was just hungry."
mm,
And then we walked past one time shortly after, and she was eating, so she probably was
mm,
hungry. And it's really funny because later on, I want to say it was either the same month or later on, but My brother sent me a picture. He ended up meeting her like right after I did.
Oh
So that
wow.
yeah, that was actually pretty funny. And he actually met Candace Patton. She plays Iris West on The Flash. So
Mm.
that's another black suit. But going back to Black Lightning, sorry. I kind of went off on a tangent here. Black Lightning was so dope to me, and just the different things about like the way Jefferson Pierce as Jefferson Pierce, who's played by Chris Williams from Living Single.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah, that dude, he was so dope. Um,
Yeah.
the way he portrayed a father just taking care of his family,
Mm.
but still like trying to balance being a superhero. I love that. It was such a dope show. I wanted to get that costume. I actually have the regular Halloween version of that costume. I refuse to wear that to a Comic Con. I want to wear a more authentic costume. I
Mm.
tried building it, had the lights, had the chest piece all built and everything like that, and it just wasn't right to me, so I couldn't wear it. And I wanted to get a mask made and everything. So I'm gonna try and revisit that maybe, but we'll see. I don't want to do it if I can't do it right, and I just need somebody to draw me the patterns. I get the patterns right, and I get the suit ready and all that. I will definitely go as dressed as Black Lightning. So,
Awesome. Awesome.
Chris, give me
Uh-huh.
another one of yours.
This one is I mean, I know it's gonna seem like it's low hanging fruit, but there is a story behind the reason why he is my next choice, and that has got to be T'Challa.
Okay, all right.
He stole it again. I'm trying to tell you.
And the reason being is because I've back when I was a kid and back in the early '80s,
Mhm,
and when I could barely afford a comic book, 50 cents was hard to come by back in the day when you
mhm.
don't have a job.
Yeah.
But I went to the store and I saw this comic book, and on it there was a guy in an ape suit, and then a there was obviously this Black Panther who by this time I had only heard like mentions of in other books, and so I was like, and I was fascinated and whatnot because I knew he was a Black character, so I was like, and it was the first time I'd actually seen one that I could actually purchase,
Mhm.
so I immediately fell in love with this book, and it was just a little over about 52 cents at the time, so I
Mhm.
grabbed it, bought it, and that book has been probably within arm's reach probably since then, except for when I was overseas.
Okay.
And so when all of a sudden, you know, I found out, that they were actually bringing him into the live action movies, I could not have been more excited.
Yeah, I get that. I
And
get that.
yeah, and so by the time, and of course I inhaled and loved everything that the man touched. And you know, just long story short, yeah, I've had a long relationship with that dude, and I can look over and see where that book is right to this day. I mean,
Mhm.
over near beside my bed now.
Right, right. Um, I want to hear your reasons, Black. But also, have either of y'all seen part two yet?
Yes,
You
I've seen
have.
it.
Okay.
I haven't yet.
Okay. All right. I haven't yet, and that's mainly because I just didn't feel like going to the movies to see it. I want to see it comfortably in my own home. Um,
Yeah.
I just want to be able to watch it. So it's out. Just came out yesterday on Disney Plus. So hopefully by next week I'll watch it. I might try to watch it this weekend, but I got a lot of nerd stuff I do this weekend. So this is the first weekend is usually my nerdy weekend. But Black, give me your reasons behind T'Challa, and then give me your next hero that you chose.
uh, yeah. Well, Chris, man, he got me twice.
I apologize, bro.
No, it's all good.
But I just wanted to say, yeah, Black Panther. I mean, the first time I actually saw that particular character was in Civil War,
Mhm.
the movie,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was which was one of the I would say it's pretty up there. I would put it up there with Infinity War. Infinity
yeah.
War. I'm sorry, I said Infinity War.
I mean, his
Yeah,
entrance in that
yeah.
was
His
so
interest
dope.
in that
Oh
was, oh
my
my
gosh.
gosh, man. It was
Yes.
it was. I was like, man, who is it? Black Panther? Who is this guy?
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So I was like, I was just so excited. I was hooked just from that, and And I saw the actual, the Black Panther movie, which set everything off. I mean, it was such a great movie.
Hmm.
Um, shout out to Chadwick Boseman.
Oh man,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
that
mean, it's
that
so
hurt.
so sad. It
That
hurt
hurt.
me
Yeah.
I mean, it hit me by surprise
He's
that
the
he
same
died.
age as us too.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I was like, I was. That one hit me. That one
yeah,
hit me.
yeah.
Yeah.
Blindsided
I,
me.
I I literally cried every day for a week, and I ain't even ashamed to say that.
Mhm.
No, no, you shouldn't be, man, because
Man, you and many others. You and
yeah,
many others.
you shouldn't be, man, because at the end of the day, Chadwick, a lot of young black boys looked up to
Hmm.
him.
Yeah,
Not just as as an actor, but as a
a
and as far
mentor.
as a mentor,
Hmm.
Yeah,
he did a lot of things for the community as well. A
yeah,
lot of people
yeah.
don't
Oh
realize
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
Yeah.
He gave back a lot,
Oh yeah.
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 and I really loved he portrayed one of my favorite baseball heroes, Jackie Robinson, and he did
Mm,
such a good job with that.
yeah.
Such a good job on that movie. I loved it. I really loved it, and I've been a fan of Jackie Robinson. I think every year for Black History Month, all the way from I want to say it was like sixth grade all the way up to ninth grade. I used the same book report on Jackie Robinson and
Mm.
just updated it for the grade level. And I did that every year because Jackie Robinson, he's the one that got us into baseball.
Mm,
So yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. And I
awesome.
can't say got us into baseball. We had our own Negro League, but no, he got us into the MLB.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't deny his talents. They had to let him in,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
So,
Definitely.
Black, give me your next choice.
Uh, I would have to say, she's a female character, and
That's good.
I got brought into to Marvel by this group of mutants,
Ah, nice. I know
the
what you're gonna
X
say.
Men,
Yes.
Yeah.
and Storm intrigued me so much
Yeah.
as an X Men. Originally her backstory is she from Africa,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
and I just thought it was so neat. You got this black, strong woman, this mutant, and she can control the weather. I mean, she
Elements.
she
Yes.
can control
Yes.
the elements, the weather. She can freeze you. She can make it rain. She can drown you with water. She could she's
Yes.
got all this. It's
Yeah.
awesome, and
Ironically, she ended up marrying Black Panther. Storm and T'Challa ended up getting married in the comics.
Yep.
no way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
yeah. And actually, there was a cartoon for a while, I believe that they were married on a
Mm,
cartoon. I remember seeing a Black Panther cartoon, but I can't remember every episode of it. I
mm,
just remember one of them where they actually had the games where T'Challa lost his powers on purpose for the games,
mm.
and he had to compete to get his powers back. So that was actually really cool. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I just wish it might have been an HBO series. I can't remember. Chris, do you remember?
I'm not sure.
'Cause I wanna say you're the one who told me about it. That's why. But, oh, well, yeah, it was a Black Panther series, though. I was on for a while. I only had, like, maybe 5 or 6 episodes, so
Mm.
Oh,
I
that was the one that was in the Japanese animated style, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I
It
think
was a
that was
couple years ago. It was,
um
like, maybe early 2000s, somewhere around there.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so
And
Because they did a series. Matter of fact, they did a short X-Men series, a
mhm.
Wolverine series,
mm,
but they were all in anime styles. But they were only like 5 or 6 episodes apiece.
Yeah,
mm. And I
They
just
had
want to
Blade also.
Yeah, I
yeah.
just want to give out a honorable mention too. She's a female, but she's in the DC universe.
Mhm.
But originally, everybody knows the original Catwoman was actually black.
Ah,
Just throwing
yes.
that out there.
Oh,
you know.
Hey,
so yeah,
have her figure.
yes. Oh, man. Oh,
I
yeah.
was in love with Eartha Kitt.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, seeing Eartha Kitt on and if you look over my shoulder, there's a Eartha Kitt right behind me. You see?
Oh,
Yes,
yep,
sir.
yep, yep, yep. I see her. Yep,
There's a
yep.
Eartha Kitt in my Batman collection.
Hmm.
So yeah. So yep. Shout out to Chris for getting me that one.
Yeah.
Appreciate that one, bro.
Nice looking out, Chris.
Yeah.
Anytime.
All right. So I've got one that I've mentioned before, and this character is he is really dope. And he's another person I wanted to cosplay as Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific.
We talked
Yes.
about him on the Injustice podcast,
Yep.
and if you haven't heard it, go back and listen to Injustice. Um, he he's a genius,
Mm.
And I didn't know how much of a genius until I did a little bit more research for him. Um, and it says he displays a natural aptitude for having natural for excuse me for having natural aptitudes. Well, that's weird. Anyway, I might have typed it, but basically, he just picks it up.
Mm,
So he just looks at something and learns it faster than anybody. So
mm,
it's not a genius. He's not even a genius for studying. He just kind of naturally just it's like, okay, yeah, I can see that. I can do that. Dude
Right.
has 14 PhDs, two in engineering and physics,
mm.
and doctorates and psychology, chemistry, political science, computer science, rocket science, and mathematics. All of this just from like naturally picking it up. you know, um,
Man. Mm,
yeah, and it says he calls it's easily picking up and retaining complex skills and abilities that others spend their entire lives perfecting is what he calls it. Is that how he says it himself? He's also a self-made millionaire, uh, had his own high tech firm, but he ended up selling it to Wayne Tech, which was funny. And he's also a gold medal winning Olympic decathlete. So he was like the most intelligent member of JSA, and also he was in the Justice League and all that. He was on the Justice League TV show, Justice League Unlimited.
mm,
He took the place of Martian Manhunter when he had a little mind break, a mental break.
mm.
So he ended up taking the lead and running the Justice League for the most part in the Watchtower. And it was if you watch Justice League Unlimited, he's just so dope in just what he does and how easily things come to him. And that's
Uh,
why that scene with him and Superman and Injustice is one of my favorite scenes because Superman, like I said, is very smart and he's smarter than Superman, of course. But Superman, every turn that Superman makes, he's like, I want to do this. And then he's just like, well, if we do this, then why don't we outlaw guns? And then there's this and that. He just keeps saying different things. So it's dude is like a genius. And that's the only way I can break it down. It's
mm.
just like he's a genius. And he's so dope. If you get a chance, look him up because he's so good. And I wanted to cosplay as him. I couldn't get the costume right. I was gonna get the spandex and then the jacket, but I can't find a jacket to make. I can't find it. I'll have to find a way to make that jacket before I do that, and then I can actually make the mask and all that. But I flipped out because they actually portrayed that character. They changed his name to Curtis Holt, but when I found out what they were doing and they had him on Arrow, and I saw the T Spheres on Arrow, I was like, "Oh my gosh, are they gonna have Mr. Terrific?"
Mm.
And then they had the actual character come in. I was like, man, I was like, I know, like it was one of those situations where I'm watching the TV show and my wife, like I start yelling, and my wife was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just excited because of this is about to happen." I did
Mhm.
the same thing when I saw the Hall of Justice in the Flash.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, again, Mr. Terrific, he's one of the dopest black characters. And actually, I forgot to mention that Black Lightning Jefferson Pierce is also a gold medal winning Olympic decathlete. So
Mm.
that's actually pretty cool. All right. So, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and break off here, and we're gonna break this podcast into two parts. One might be a little bit shorter than the other. However, we're gonna break it off into two parts to talk more about the Black History characters, because we got a whole bunch to say.
Definitely.
so, so what we're gonna do, I just wanted to go ahead and our follow us on Instagram at toldmywifepodcast.com. Facebook page, I told my wife I'm paying bills. You can email us. We'd love to hear from you. At sorry, told my wife podcast at gmail.com. Um, yeah, like I said, we're going to go ahead and break it off. But please come back and listen for more. But until then, this is Slim
This is black.
and our guest.
Chris, how you doing?
Yeah, saying thanks for listening and just wanted to say happy gaming and happy watching.